1 week ago at the Nürburgring, Peter Kox led off the start after taking Lamborghini's first qualifying race win of the season. Everyone sneaked through into turn 1, but there was a bit of a collision going into turn 2. Nicky Passarelli moving over to the right-hand side of the circuit. He, Ollie Jarvis and Alvaro Parente all retiring from the race. After a difficult qualifying race, Jelmer Berman was slicing through the field, as was Fred McAvicky in the Hexus McLaren. But he came together with Dominic Baumann, and that would earn the McLaren a drive-through penalty. So although he spurred on, tried to overtake the number 18 car of Jelmer Berman, it was all to no avail. He was bringing the Ferrari with him as well in the battle for the final podium position. Made a good move on Jelmer Berman up the inside into turn 2 and making it stick into 3. The 4 contenders then came into the pits at the same time, with Peter Kox having come in a lap earlier to hand over to Stefan Rosina. So it was now a battle in the pits between Al Inkel, Vita for One, Hexis and AF Corsa. Peter Kox's pit stop hadn't been that smooth though, so when Stefan Rosina did take over, he was unable to hold on to the lead. Instead, the number 3 AF Corsa Ferrari getting out in front, Felipe Salaquada taking the lead, Winkelhock in second, third place for Michael Bartels, with Rosina just taking 4th ahead of the number 1 Hexus McLaren of Stef Dusseldorf. Rosina's tyres were up to temperature though, and he soon swept past Michael Bartels and up into 3rd position with his sights set on the Mercedes in front. Rosina sent one up the inside going into the chicane, but Winkelhock defended strongly and was able to hold on to the 3rd position. The Hexus McLaren came in to serve its drive-through penalty, but the number 1 car would retire later on with a mechanical problem. But it was the first championship race win of the season for AF Corsa Ferrari. Tony Verlander and Felipe Salaquada taking the win, but with Marcus Winkelhock and Marc Basang finishing second, they took the championship lead, while Stefan Rosina and Peter Kox crossed the line to take their first podium of the 2012 season. This weekend we're in Donington Park for the 3-way fight for the 2012 Drivers' Championship. Audi had a strong weekend at the Nürburgring, but it didn't quite come together in terms of results. Stefan Otelli and Laurens Vanthoor looked strong, and Frank Stippler and Oliver Jarvis were taken out at the second corner of the championship race. Jarvis is keen to do well though on home soil.
It's probably going to be a tough weekend again, as we're struggling on straight line speed, but the team's very determined. We've stayed positive throughout the year, and I hope here we can have a strong result. It looks like at the moment the circuit might suit the Audi, so there's no reason why we shouldn't be fighting for podiums.
The Vita for One racing team contenders this weekend are Jelmer Berman and Michael Bartels. The pairing have been leading the championship since the Slovakia ring, all the way back in June, but at the last round in the Nürburgring, they were usurped at the top of the Drivers' Championship. They're only a point behind coming into this weekend, and Berman has enjoyed the battle all season.
Well, it was a really good battle, so far, and I mean, to be here in this position is really cool. It's going to be for sure tough, but I think we've got a really good chance, and we're going to push as hard as we can.
AF Corsa had a great weekend last time out at the Nürburgring, taking their first championship race victory of the season. This weekend, Tony Verlander's not here, and he'll be replaced by Marco Ciocci, who will be alongside regular driver Felipe Salaquada.
It's my first time here in Donington. I like the track. It's really nice, really high-speed mid-speed corner. For me, it's the first race with Marco. I'm really looking forward to have a good race, and hopefully we can finish on the podium the first race. I'm really looking forward.
It was a tough weekend for the Sun-Red Ford GT squad in the Nürburgring. Benjamin Lariche and Laurent Groppi only lasted 2 laps in the championship race after a collision forced them into retirement. But Laurent Groppi is hoping for better things this weekend at the season finale.
It's a good thing to be there to finish this championship. It's a World Championship with a strong level, and it's funny to be there with my good friend Benjamin Lariche.
Lamborghini picked up their first win of the season last time out at the Nürburgring, taking the win in the qualifying race in the hands of Stefan Rosina and Peter Kox. Peter Kox used to race in the British Touring Car Championship, so he certainly knows his way around this Donington Park circuit.
I'm extremely happy for Rider Engineering last weekend. We were so close already on a few occasions, and always we didn't get it completely right, and last weekend it went completely right, apart from the championship race where we were not so good with the strategy, but it all went really well, and for sure here we want to finish on a high note. So I have high hopes for a good result this weekend.
Hexus McLaren still have a mathematical chance of taking the championship this weekend. Stef Dusseldorf and Fred McAvicky are in the hunt, but only a win and retirements for both their rivals will see them take the crown. But team manager Philippe Dumas knows it's a long shot.
No, for sure we had a very difficult weekend in Nürburgring. A lot of up and down this season, and to be honest, we are really disappointed about what happened in Nürburgring, but because everything was under control. But the goal today and this weekend is to win for McLaren and for us, and to finish with 3 victories. Yeah.
Mercedes-Benz moved into the lead of the Drivers' Championship at the Nürburgring last weekend. Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock hold a slender 1-point advantage over their main rivals here at Donington Park. The Mercedes has looked strong in free practice too, and the Alinkel.com Munich Motorsport squad certainly know how to get the best out of the SLS. Team manager Mark Basang is excited for the weekend.
We know from the beginning we have a good car, a car which will run every weekend. And we and Hexes know the championship quite well, the special thing with the pit stops, and I think we did a quite good job through all the season. And big thank you to my pit stop guys. And Marcus and me, we are always out of the trouble. So in the end we make the points, and now we are here leading the championship by 1 point, and I hope it is enough for the championship.
Good afternoon everybody, and welcome to Donington Park for the final qualifying race of the 2012 FIA GT1 World Championship. My name's Jack Nichols. I'm here in the commentary box. We've got Hayley Coxon down in the pit lane, and we're going to be bringing you coverage of this 1-hour race, which really is set to be a thriller here at Donington Park. You can see the crowd just about gathering on the banks over there, and they're enjoying 14.2 degrees centigrade heat. So not exactly roasting, but the track is up at a nice reasonable 23 degrees centigrade. And the story this weekend is all about the battle for the championship. At the top of the championship, we have the... well, here you can see the championship standings. Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock, 1 point ahead of Michael Bartels and Jelmer Berman coming into this weekend. We'll discuss how they've done in qualifying in a few moments' time. Steph Dusseldorp and Fred Makovicky still in the championship hunt for now, but that could change in an hour's time because they didn't have a great weekend last time out in Nürburgring, so the championship is still a long shot for them. As far as the team's championship is concerned, there we've got Alinkel.com Munich Motorsports at the top. They are some 36 points of V241 Racing. They can't officially seal it today, Munich Motorsports, because there aren't that many points on offer in the championship race, but they can certainly put themselves in a good position to sort it out tomorrow. So on pole position for this race, on the left-hand side there, you can see Adam Carroll and Laurens Vanthorpe. Sorry, no, that's the second Audi, isn't it, of Oliver Jarvis and Frank Stippler. This is the championship leader, and that is Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock. Winkelhock will start after a couple of spins in qualifying, meant he could only start 10th on the grid today, but it's not a disaster for them. It seemed like a disaster at the end of Q2 when they qualified 10th, but their championship rivals, whom they are 1 point clear of, the 18 V241 Racing team BMW of Michael Bartels and Jelmer Berman, could only manage 7th on the grid. So overall, there they are, the 18 car, Jelmer Berman at the wheel. They will be starting 17th on the grid, 7th on the grid. So it's not an absolute disaster for Alinkel, but it's just going to be very exciting. Just when you think the championship has taken another twist, it twists back the other way. It's been a really fantastic season, and hopefully we're going to finish it off with a fantastic weekend of racing here at Donington Park. What a lineup of cars we have. Back to the number 2 Hexus McLaren at the back. They will be starting in 11th place alongside the Sunred Ford GT of Benjamin Lariche. Gregoire de Moustier will be starting the number 2 Hexus McLaren. So the grid is cleared, and there is the pole position car on the left-hand side. Adam Carroll at the wheel of this Belgian Audi Club Team WRT R8. And really, what a debut weekend this is for Adam Carroll. It's only his second GT race ever that you're about to see. He did the Blancpain Endurance Series at Silverstone a few months ago, and this is his second foray into GT racing after a late call because Stefan Ortelli is unavailable for this weekend. Laurens Vanthorpe put the car on pole position in qualifying, and Adam Carroll will start it from pole position. There you can see de Moustier and Benjamin Lariche at the back of the grid in that sun-red Ford GT. Expect them to get a good start, they usually do. But here's a look at the grid for the qualifying race. Carroll on pole, Steph Dusseldorp alongside him in the championship challenging McLaren. Then we've got Stefan Rosina in third with Marco Ciocci in fourth position. Then the third row of the grid, the teammates of the cars battling for the championship, Jaeger and Meyer Melnoff. Then you've got the number 18 car. Then you've got the championship leaders in 10th place. Marcus Winkelhock at the wheel there. Gregoire de Moustier and Benjamin Lariche completing our grid for today. So Matthias Lauda and Thomas Jaeger in the BMW and Mercedes out qualifying their championship challenging teammates, which was interesting. But Hjalmar Berman was quickest of anyone in the second segment of qualifying, so expect him to slice through the field. We're already out onto the Dunlop straight, so before too long they'll be moving into side-by-side formation. Adam Carroll picks up the inside line, and of course we've got the Melbourne Loop to come, haven't we? I'm so used to seeing racing here on the national circuit that I thought we were towards the end of the lap, but of course they then drop down through the Fogarty-Esses down towards the Melbourne Loop, back up into the left-hand hairpin at Goddard's, where we saw a lot of cars struggling earlier on, and then that completes this 4-kilometre circuit. This is going to be a decent area for overtaking. You can see the plane in the background. We're right under the flight path for East Midlands Airport, which is just the other side of the circuit. So this is going to be an overtaking opportunity into the Melbourne hairpin, possibly into Redgate as well, and the Fogarty-Esses might be a little bit too fast to get side-by-side through there. But it's the final qualifying race of the season. The black Audi being driven by Adam Carroll, the silver McLaren being driven by Steph Dusseldorp. They are on the front row of the grid. Behind you've got the Lamborghini of Stefan Rosina and the Ferrari of Marco Ciocci, who's also making his GT1 debut this weekend. For the penultimate time this season, we're about to get racing in GT1, and it's a good start from Adam Carroll. He covers the inside line. Peter Cox is looking racy on the one down into Redgate for the first time. Jaeger fancies to look up the inside, but at the moment they're still running 2 by 2. Ciocci didn't get a great start. Marcus Winkelhock, I think, has forced his way past his championship rival in there. Yes, Marcus Winkelhock, with a brilliant start, is now in front of the Vita 1 BMW. Down into the old hairpin for the first time. Up into second place has gone Peter Cox. We're all safely through the first 4 corners of this Donington Park circuit, but what a brilliant start from Marcus Winkelhock. He's got a car now in between himself and Michael Bartels. Up into McLean's, it was a very neat and tidy start, and Peter Cox is looking on it. He's really putting the pressure on Adam Carroll. Out onto the back straight. Third place then for Dusseldorp, fourth for Jaeger. So again, the Mercedes always claim they're slow, but they're fourth and fifth positions at the halfway stage of the first lap. Threading their way through this brilliant Fogarty-Esses. The car's really bouncing on their way out of the corner, and now down into the Melbourne hairpin for the first time. Jaeger tentatively sending one up the inside. Marco Ciocci really the big loser there. He started fourth on the grid. I think he's now down in 6th place. And Jaeger is showing his nose at every possible opportunity, trying to put Steph Dusseldorp off. There's almost a nudge between them as they come out of the final corner. Dusseldorp not able to keep pace with the lead too. But across the line they come. Adam Carroll leads, but for how much longer? Here comes Peter Cox up the inside into Redgate and moves into the lead of the race. The Reiter Engineering Lamborghini leading, and there's a challenge for third as well. Jaeger sticking one up the inside of Dusseldorp, but he can't quite get through. But for the second time in 2 qualifying races, we've got Peter Cox in the lead. Adam Carroll not quite getting up to speed quickly enough. But here, championship-wise, there is Hjalmar Berman in 7th place with his championship rival Marcus Winkelhock in 5th. Dusseldorp's coming under all sorts of pressure from Thomas Jaeger. Up into Coppice. The back end stepping out just a little bit from the McLaren under braking. There's the sister McLaren battling with the Ford GT. But out onto the Dunlop straight they come, and Dusseldorp is having to go defensive straight away. Peter Cox has got so much experience around here in that leading Lamborghini. He raced here in Formula 3. He raced here for 3 seasons in the British Touring Car Championship as well. So he knows exactly what is required. Marcus Winkelhock having to go a bit defensive. There's a look up the inside from Hjalmar Berman, trying to force his way past Marco Ciocci. Basang looking stern and focused, because Winkelhock is coming under pressure after that great start. Out onto the start-finish straight they come. We saw how vigorously Markus Winkelhock defended at the Nürburgring 1 week ago. That was from a Lamborghini. Now he's got a Ferrari trying to squeeze up the inside into Redgate, but Chiocci not having enough of an overlap. He said when we spoke to him that he knows there's a championship battle going on. The Ferraris aren't involved in a championship battle, but they want to end this season on a high note. Stefan Rosina's just set the fastest first sector of anyone out the front. So my apologies, yes, it's Stefan Rosina starting that Reiter Engineering Lamborghini. Peter Cox will be taking it over at the pit stops. So many late changes this morning to the starting order. As a result, it is Stefan Rosina in that Lamborghini up at the front. I apologise. Carroll in second, Dusseldorp third, Jaeger fourth, fifth for Winkelhock, and he's just about managed to hold off the attentions of Chiocci for now. Away goes the marker on the inside of the chicane. That was never going to stay there for too long. Berman gets a great run. Surely he'll be on the inside line down into the Melbourne hairpin, and Jelmer Berman takes sixth position. I was surprised Chiocci didn't cover the inside line a little bit more, because Berman got such a great run out that it was kind of obvious almost. But they come up into the hairpin, Chiocci really hugging the inside line. And Matthias Lauda actually doing a decent team job and holding off the pack behind. There's the V1 Racing team. Michael Bartels watching as Jelmer Berman moves up into sixth place and now starts to hunt down his championship rival in front of him. If things stay how they are, and we've got 55 minutes to go, the 38 car would extend its Drivers' Championship lead by just 1 point. So there'd be 2 points in it going into tomorrow. But at this stage in the season, every point is crucial. Stefan Rosina is on it though. He has pulled out 1.1 seconds over Adam Carroll in second place. Dusseldorp has managed to settle his car down and hold off the attentions of Thomas Jaeger behind him as they come through the Fogarty S's. Winkelhock now is going to be coming under pressure from Berman by the looks of things. Berman set the fastest middle sector of anyone, took 0.2 of a second out of the Mercedes advantage. Frank Stippler having a little look up the inside as he tries to get past Francesco Castellacci in the number 4 AF Corsa Ferrari. Out onto the start-finish straight, the gap goes up to 1.4 seconds. Dusseldorp does a 29.0 on that last lap, which was a good lap from him. Quickest man of anyone, though, that time around was Jelmer Berman, the number 18 BMW that we're looking at now, through Hollywood. Look at that, he took 0.4 of a second out of Markus Winkelhock, who has sparks flying up from the front left of the car, where it drags along the floor. They changed their setup after qualifying, so it matched their sister car, because Jaeger and Passarelli did a much better job in qualifying than Basang and Winkelhock. So as a result, they decided to use that setup, and it's working better for them now, but it's not working as well as the V1 Racing Team BMW Z4. Look at the speed that Berman takes out of the corner. You can visibly see how much quicker the BMW is. Winkelhock holds it in the centre of the circuit on the run down into the Fogarty S's. Not really an overtaking opportunity. Now this is where the BMW got great traction out last time in its challenge with the Ferrari, but not quite as much this time around. Winkelhock still feeling the need to go defensive now. Are we going to have some team play here? Jaeger moves out of the way. Has he lost out to Berman as well? This is going to be the interesting thing. Jaeger really needs to hold on in front of this BMW if that's going to work out for Al Inkel, and he has. That was some inevitable and sensible team play from Al Inkel now. Markus Winkelhock up into 4th place. Jaeger in 5th. Bartels, his car is in 6th place. But really that that was inevitable, and with the top three pulling away at the rate they are, it was the only sensible option for Al Hinkle. 8 minutes gone. Stefan Rosina leads in the Lamborghini. Second is Adam Carroll in the Audi. Third is the number one Hexus McLaren. Then we've got this battle over fourth. Fourth is Winkelhock. Fifth is Jaeger. Sixth is Berman. Seventh Chiocci. Eighth Lauda. Ninth Castellacci. 10th Stippler. 11th Lurich and 12th de Moustier. Now Thomas Jaeger has got to defend for all he's worth. Into the fog of the S's. Little nose towards the inside from Yelmer Burma, but he's not quick enough. Not late enough on the brakes. He's having to go defensive down into the Melbourne hairpin though. If Jaeger does end up having to go defensive a lot of the time, it's going to help out Marcus Winkelhock, who will manage to break clear. And you can see already that the gap is going to be a couple of tenths of a second as they cross the line. 7 tenths of a second between the two Mercedes now. Chiocci is looking really racy as well. He's desperate to get involved. He doesn't care about the championship battle that's going on in front of him, and rightly so. Great to see an Italian in the AF Corsa Ferrari for the final round of the season. Marcus Winkelhock has just set the fastest first sector time of anyone. So he is getting on it now, and let's hear from his teammate Mark Basang down in the pit lane with Hayley Coxon.
Mark, certainly a tense moment in the garage and a great strategy so far.
Mark's had a good start again. I'm really stressed at the moment, and he attacked Thomas, but Thomas let him really enough room. I'm really happy for that. We saw that you're also a bit different sometimes, and now we'll see how the race is going on.
Have you told 37 to hold the BMW back?
No, definitely not. We are racing, but I think it's just teammates against each other, don't try to hit each other. So Marcus was maybe a bit too late on the brakes. So I'm okay, we'll see.
Thank you.
Doesn't take these situations well, does Mark Basang. He gets very, very stressed. As well you might, though, when you're battling for the World Championship. Into the left-hander, Thomas Jaeger on that last lap was only a tenth of a second slower than his teammate. Across the line he comes this time. What's his lap time going to be? The gap has gone out by another 2 tenths of a second. Here's a look further back. Castellacci challenging Matthias Lauda into red gate. Not close enough. That might allow Frank Stippler through. Again, purple first sector for Marcus Winkelhock. That last lap, he was lapping on the leader's pace. So whatever problems they have in qualifying, the Mercedes managed to sort out when the race comes, and it's usually down to getting heat into the tyres. We have had now 7 laps, and that does tend to be around the time that the Mercedes begin to bring their tyres in. There is the 33 Audi of Frank Stippler at the back of this pack. Oh, he's run wide onto the grass there, keeps it all together. Here comes Berman. And I think Basang's argument that Jaeger isn't intentionally holding up the BMW does work, because Jaeger isn't having to go defensive. It's not like Berman is all over the back of him. He's very close to him, no doubt, putting pressure on him, no doubt, but it's not like he's having to be blocked at every single corner by Thomas Jaeger. So across the line they come. Winkelhock in 4th place does a 29.0, pulls out another 3 tenths of a second over these 2 cars behind. Chiocci doing a good job as well to stay with them in 7th place. Cascading down towards the old hairpin. Chiocci, just as I say that, has dropped back a little bit. Fastest lap of the race going to Adam Carroll on that last lap, a 1 minute 28.851. The gap at the front is 1.4 seconds, so I think that is a battle that is still very much on. Reiter struggled in the pit stops 1 week ago at the Nürburgring. So leading the race is no guarantee that they'll be there come the end. Bartel's nervous as well. So much pressure around the paddock this weekend. It really is phenomenal. The championship contenders did a photo shoot on Thursday, and they were all kind of laughing and joking and having a bit of fun, but look at that. Nerves throughout the paddock. There'll be nerves at Reiter too, because Stefan Rosina is leading the way. They've had a good season, Reiter. They've had some strong performances. They qualified on pole position at Navarra all the way back in May. So the pace has been there. Peter Cox had the fastest lap in the opening race of the season at Nogaro. But it's only at the Nürburgring where things finally came together. They had a big crash at the Slovakia ring with Albert von Taxis. They had to miss Moscow because of that. But their comeback weekend in Nürburgring really saw them pick up the pace once more. Jelmer Berman is lapping slower than Thomas Jaeger on that last lap. He lost 0.2 of a second. So the BMWs struggling with their race pace, whereas it's looking strong for Al Inkel. If things stay how they are, the gap would go up to 3 points at the championship head. But the BMW is strong in this middle sector, and as a result, you can see it's caught right up to the back of Jaeger. Into the Melbourne hairpin, and Jaeger has to go defensive now. That's the first time that we've had to see him really go defensive. Holds it on the apex so that Berman can't get the cutback. The two go up to Godard's almost side by side. Stefan Rosina sets the fastest first sector of anyone, and then subsequently the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. The gap at the front now up to 2.1 seconds. It's now 1.4 between the two Mercedes. Winkelhock in fourth, Jaeger in fifth, separated by 1.4 seconds. Just the cars roar past on the way down the corner curves. Really good place to watch these cars. Chiocci ended up in the barriers on the right-hand side here in testing on Thursday. There's Matthias Lauda in 8th place. Stefan Rosina continues to lead. Made his GT1 debut halfway through the season at the Slovakia ring. It's been very, very impressive since then. Fastest lap of the race on that last lap, as I say. And he's on a pretty good lap this time around as well. Expected a little bit more from Steph Dusseldorp, perhaps. 3.4 seconds off the lead of the race, but when Fred Makovicky takes over, perhaps that'll be a little quicker. Dusseldorp and Makovicky have been very evenly matched so far this season. The pit stop window will be open with 35 minutes remaining in this race, so what, 8 minutes to go until the pit stop window opens. And running wide on the exit of Godard's there is Stefan Rosina. Kept it all together, no major drama, but he was very much on the grass there. He's pushing hard. 29.168 on that last lap. Still the fastest of anyone. Here we go. Does he get sideways? No, just takes too much speed. So no dramas really for Rosina, but if the grass had been a little wetter, it may well have been a different story. Now, on that last lap, Thomas Jaeger set his personal best lap of the race and took 0.6 of a second out of Markus Winkelhock. I think Winkelhock, that was just a combination of Winkelhock having a poor lap and Jaeger having a great lap. So there's our top three. Stefan Rosina leading into the fog of the S's. Whoa, look at that! He's pushing hard. Well, you heard that from Hans Reiter. Brilliant to hear that on the radio to Stefan Rosina. He says, Stefan, don't over push it. You've got enough of a lead. Don't push too hard. And up into the hairpin they come. And obviously Hans Reiter just a little concerned that Rosina is overdoing it. He does have, as he crosses the line this time around, a 2.4 second advantage over Adam Carroll. And Stippler has got past Castellacci then, and he's also challenging Lauda in the battle over 8th place, but here's the important one as far as the championship is concerned. So we just heard Hans Reiter telling Rosina to calm down a little bit. Let's hear from him. He's with Haley.
Stefan certainly got off to a great start. You're just telling him to calm down a little bit there, though, Hans.
Yes, because the whole setup tire pressure is done in a way that we are good in the beginning of the stint, but now we need to save it and need to survive for the last 15 minutes until the driver change. And at the moment he overdoes it a little bit, and it's not necessary. He's leading by 2.4 seconds. What else do you want?
Thank you.
So Rosina very clearly told exactly what to do. Now, what's the action like with second and third? They're lapping at pretty equal pace, about a second apart. So Dusseldorp and Adam Carroll not particularly going to be challenging one another. That could be something that changes, though, at the pit stop window. Up to Goddard's and Finkelhock. What's his pace been like on this lap so far? It's been all right. Lost 0.2 of a second in the middle sector to Thomas Jaeger, so Jaeger's certainly coming back at him. Across the line he comes. And, a little bit of wing mirror flappage on the left-hand side of Marco Ciocci's car, but I'm sure it's nothing too dramatic. Probably from some of his battling earlier, maybe even at the start of the race, as they come down into the old hairpin. 5 minutes to go till the driver changes, or at least the pit stop window opens. There is Frank Stippler, 8th place for him. Some 12.4 seconds off the lead. And well, you can see that I think Stippler, when he was trying to get past Francesco Castellacci, may have possibly had a bit of contact at some point. You can see the left-hand side of the Audi has seen better days. Coming up to us now, if you keep an eye on the left-hand door, you see it's all kind of ripped up a little bit through the fog of the S's. There it is. Down into the hairpin then. Finkelhock's starting to struggle. This is the first running they'll have done after the setup change that they made after qualifying, so Finkelhock, it may be that he pushed too hard in the early laps, and now as a result Jaeger and Berman are catching up with him. There's 1.1 seconds between these three cars. Ciocci has dropped back from the fight a little bit. First sector split they come. All fairly evenly matched. Berman took 0.2 of a second out of the Mercedes in that first sector, and he's strong in the middle sector. There's Michael Bartels in the yellow helmet, getting ready to take over that 18 car. The pit stops are going to be such a nervy time. The championship cannot be won today. Neither of these teams or drivers can be crowned GT1 World Champions today. McLaren can drop out of the running though, and if things stay how they are now, they will drop out of the running. But no one can be crowned champion. Into the fog of the S's. Oh, there's some remnants of one of the marker posts. As we come down into the right-hander. This is a difficult moment for Thomas Jaeger, because Alinkel encouraged racing between their drivers, but at a stage like this, it's got to be a little bit careful, and I think they have been careful so far today. They've managed the race very well so far as they come over the line. Thomas Jaeger, of course, not only a team player for Alinkel, a team player for Mercedes-Benz. He was a big part of the development of this GT race car. And as a result, he'll be very keen to see it win. the FIA GT1 World Championship. Rina at the front is still taking half a second a lap out of Adam Carroll in second place. Cap at the front up to 3.5 seconds. So if Rina has backed off, and he's still doing that pace, that's very impressive indeed. Frank Stippler is the only man anywhere near Rina's pace on that last lap. So the pit stop window won't be open this time around, but it will be on the next lap if anyone decides to pit. The difficulty is for BMW here is that the thinking is, do we pit Jelmer Berman early, get Michael Bartels out in some clear air, and see what he can do, and use that clear air to lap quicker than the Mercedes in front. The only problem is, Jelmer Berman is probably the quicker of the two drivers this weekend. And so it makes sense to have him in the car for the longest time. So it's an interesting decision, because if, let's for example say the Mercedes come in at the very opening of the pit stop window, then Berman would have maybe 3 or 4 laps out in clear air by himself. So it's got to be very reactive, this pit stop strategy. Frank Stippler sets the fastest final sector of anyone on that last lap. It's a 28.974, the third fastest lap of the race. So now Frank Stippler's got some clear air. He's lapping well. He's not too far off these guys. You can just see him there coming up into McLaren's. There you see these 3 cars, and then at the back you've got the Audi. So he's not a million miles out of the running, Frank Stippler. He and Oliver Jarvis may still be able to squeeze together a good position for tomorrow's championship race. Pit stop window is open. Now then, who is going to blink first? It's brilliant that we have this battle in the championship, and we've also got this battle on the track. Apparently we're hearing BMW are coming in on this lap. That's what our news tells us from the pit lane. Let's have a look, shall we? Yes, in comes Jelmer Berman then, to hand over to Michael Bartels. Also in comes the Ferrari of Marco Chiocci, and the 33 Audi of Frank Stippler. Let's see how this pit stop goes. Oliver Jarvis gets into the Audi. He's had a few troubles getting the BMW started so far this year. Away goes Bartels. So that looked like a decent pit stop. What are Al Inkel going to do now? That's the big question, isn't it? Are they going to bring their cars in as soon as possible just to make sure they have track position? Because it's all going to be about track position here at Donington Park. Overtaking, pretty tricky. Out comes Alvaro Parente. Didn't spot what happened with the, I think, the Ferrari of Salaquada, or will still be out now in front of the number 33 Audi of Oliver Jarvis. There's Marc Basang. Right down the far end of the pit lane. Across the line then comes Adam Carroll. He continues to lead, but into the pits comes Marcus Winkelhock. So this is massively exciting, massively nerve-wracking, because this could be crucial for the championship, and they all know it. The crucial thing may be that Michael Bartels will have his tyres up to temperature if he comes on the attack. The Al Inkel squad have great pit stops in the past. I don't want to curse them, but they have been some of the quickest pit stops so far this year. There's Bartels coming around the Melbourne hairpin. It's going to be very close. The final wheel is done. Away goes, it's going to be Basang, I think, to come out, because Bartels is just coming into the final corner now. Marc Basang is already coming out of the pit lane. So Marcus Winkelhock has handed over to Marc Basang, and he holds on. He holds on in front of the 18 car of Michael Bartels. It's a battle between the team bosses now. And Basang is winning it. Car number 3, which is now Philippe Salaquada, has had a spin at the first corner, Redgate, on that previous lap. That's why he's dropped down a number of places. He's all the way down in 11th place now. Stefan Rosina stays out for another lap. That car is now lapped of Benjamin Lariche. No, and he has made a pit stop. So it's Laurent Groppi at the wheel. He just hasn't changed over his transponder. But Stefan Rosina is still out there, still leading the way. There's only 0.6 of a second between Adam Carroll and Steph Dusseldorp in the battle over second place. In comes Thomas Jaeger to hand over to Nicky Pastorelli. Now, if Mercedes can get both of their cars out in front of the 18 BMW, that would be a real fillip for them. This is looking like a good stop. Final tyre going on, and off is Oliver Jarvis. Oliver Jarvis has beached himself in the gravel. Oh, as has Philippe Salaquada. So I wonder if those two came together. But here comes Nicky Pastorelli. Where's his teammate? Miles behind. Miles behind is Marc Basang. So that must have been a great stop for Nicky Pastorelli. And Michael Bartels is closing in on both of them by the looks of things. Car 33 is in the tyres at turn 10, so where is that? Coppice, I think. Well, certainly Oliver Jarvis is up there, a little shake of the head, and I can't quite figure out if the Audi and the Ferrari are off at the same place. Into the pits comes Stefan Rosina to hand over to Peter Cox. Now, will they emerge in the lead of this race? The Adam Carroll now goes through to take the lead, so Carroll and Dusseldorp stay out. It seems that the Audi and the Ferrari are off at different places on the circuit, so perhaps they didn't come together. But no safety car deployed, which is the main thing. They send away Peter Cox. The car gets started nice and quickly. Here comes this battle, so Cox is going to be out well in front of them. So the battle really for the lead is going to be for Adam Carroll and Steph Dusseldorp when they come into the pits this time around, or the next time around. But here comes Pastorelli then. He's had a little while to get his tyres up to temperature. So Pastorelli down into turn 1, leading this scrap at the moment. This is the battle for the race lead, as it is at the moment, with Stefan Rosina having made his pit stop. But ultimately it's the battle over second place, unless these two can get a better pit stop than the Ryder Engineering Lamborghinis did. They might come in this time around, or they could leave it for one more lap. I think the Audi will come in as well. Yet looking out the window of my commentary box, Hexes look ready, but they both stay out. There are the Hexes crew just underneath my window, and Fred Mekovicki goes back in to have a look at the timing screens. There's only 0.7 of a second between them, but here comes Michael Bartels. The challenge on Marc Basang going down into the chicane. Waved yellow flags at the chicane, so that's where, I think that's where Jarvis is off at the chicane. A late look from Bartels going down into the hairpin. He's really feeling racy now, is Michael Bartels. Basang has to go defensive. Bartels moving every way to try and put Basang under pressure. Basang must be feeling the pressure. If he was nervous before he got in the car, goodness knows how he'll be feeling now down into Redgate. What an exciting race this is turning into. Down through the crane of curves. Adam Carroll continues to lead this race, but this is the battle for the championship. It's the Mercedes with the red trim and the BMW behind. that are dueling it out for the championship. And look, into the pits comes the Audi and the McLaren, right together then. The Audi drives past, the McLaren pulls in. We're watching the McLaren pit stop. There you can see the Audis as well. This is going to be interesting. So this could be for the race lead, depending on how quickly Peter Cox has gone. And look at that, more side-by-side action between Basang and Bartels. I wonder if Bartels got a good run and was thinking about having a look, but the yellow flags were out. Away goes the number one. This is going to be close, and I think the McLaren's going to get the jump. The McLaren is up into second place. Is the McLaren going to take the lead? Where is Peter Cox? He comes out of the final corner, and Fred Makovicky moves into the lead of the race. The number one Hex's McLaren leads. It's second place then for the 32 Audi, now in the hands of Laurens Vanthoor. But Cox will have his tyres up to temperature, and we've got a three-car train. And look at that. Basang is now ahead of Pastorelli. Marc Basang is now ahead of Nicky Pastorelli. The two Mercedes have switched places. Well, well, well. Bartels knew he needed to get past the 38 car quickly. But he couldn't do it quickly enough. Down into the old hairpin. And here's the battle. Look, this is the thing that we thought might happen. Peter Cox has got his tyres up to temperature, and he's now attacking Laurens Vanthoor on the run down into the chicane. Has to back out of it because the yellow flags are still there. Double waved yellows. Presumably there's marshals on the circuit somewhere down there, or not on the circuit, but in the gravel trap. And here comes Cox again, sending it to the outside of Vanthoor. Is he going to get the overlap on the outside? He is. Vanthoor squeezes him, but there's just enough room. The pit stop window is now closed. Everyone's made their pit stop anyway, but this is allowing Fred Makovicky to get away at the front of the field. Across the line they come. Makovicky has a 1.4 second advantage as they cross the line. Cox sends the dummy, but he's not quite close enough. Really putting Laurens Vanthoor under some pressure. He's got a great exit. Surely we're not about to go side by side down the crater curves. Almost contact between the two of them. Side by side through the crater curves. Brilliant stuff. Vanthoor holds on at the moment. Hans Reiter looking as nervy as anything. But Peter Cox knows his way around here. 3 years in the British Touring Car Championship for the Dutchman. But he knew when it was time to back out. Up through McLean's. "24 minutes remaining, and so much can still happen, both in terms of the race win and in terms of the championship battle. Although it looks as though Basang's getting the hammer down a little bit and is starting to pull away. Still yellow flags down at the Fogarty S's. Although Oliver Jarvis's car has now been removed, I believe. There's Michael Bartels then, 6th place. If things stay as they are now, the gap extends from 1 point to 3 points at the top of the Drivers' Championship. So, what is Makovicky's lap times like? They're okay. They're okay. They're not amazing, but he's got a 1.4 second cushion over Laurens Vanthoor. And then we've got this battle over 4th, 5th and 6th positions. Basang, Pastorelli and Bartels. Again, the frustration for the 18 car will be that 37 car in the middle. Safety car deployed. Safety car deployed here at Donington Park. Now I wonder what that will be for. Because those Jarvis and Salaquada have been in the gravel for a good, 10 minutes or so, really. So, well, there is Jarvis's car. They've obviously decided they were probably going to try and remove it, decided they couldn't, and it's too dangerous a position. I don't know where that is. If we get a wider shot of that camera position, we'll be able to find out exactly where Jarvis has gone off. But that is presumably why the safety car has been deployed. Down into the Fogarty-S as they come. And, Fred Makovicky then leads the race. Second place for Laurens Vanthoor, third place for Peter Cox. Basang, Pastorelli, Bartels completing the top 6. Then it's Alvaro Parente in 7th place. That's going to be interesting, actually, because this will bring Alvaro Parente right up to the back of Michael Bartels. Now we're seeing the Fogarty-S's. Oliver Jarvis. Oh, he's just got it wrong. He's got it wrong all by himself, by the looks of things, down at the Fogarty-S's. And that's where his car is off. And now they've got him back into the car to drag it away, presumably with the help of a snatch vehicle. Just attaching it to the front end of the Audi R8. So Alvaro Parente is now in the mix, definitely, because he is right up on the back of the battles in front, and Alvaro Parente is a very, very quick driver around here. In fact, in the 2004 British Formula 3 Championship, the opening round was held here at Donington Park. 2 qualifying sessions. 1 pole position was taken by that middleman there, Adam Carroll. 2nd pole position taken by Alvaro Parente. They're pretty pleased with how Adam Carroll has performed this weekend by the looks of things. But the Mercedes-Benz safety car is out. As they come up into the right-hander at McLaren's. And Oliver Jarvis's car gets removed from the gravel trap with the help of the marshals. And once that car is safely cleared, because I think that Philippe Salaquada's car, which is off at the exit of Coppice, I don't think they're too fussed about that one, because that's probably far enough into the gravel. You can see there's not much. They've removed the car of Philippe Salaquada from up there at Coppice, but you can see there's not much runoff at the Fogarty-S's in general. So this may be the penultimate lap of safety car running, I think, because it looks as though the circuit is almost clear. So what an interesting race this has turned into. Michael Bartels will undoubtedly be on the attack as soon as that safety car comes in, because he knows he needs to make up as many positions as he can for the championship, and ideally he needs to get in front of that Mercedes in the battle for the championship as well. Unfortunately for him, his teammate Niki Mermanov is just a little bit too far away to actually make a challenge and help him out as far as the team's championship is concerned. And here we're going to see the Ferrari going off at Coppice, all wibbly wobbly, out of shape, and Salaquada, he just keeps going. Go on, keep it lit and you'll get out of there, Philippe. But what happens? Runs out of momentum and ends up beached in the gravel. But that car is now removed, we believe, so this could be the final lap under safety car conditions. Makovicky leading, Laurens Vanthoor in 2nd, Peter Cox in 3rd. 4th place for our championship leaders, Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock. Here's a look at the predictions. As I said, it'll be the 3 points between 1st and 2nd. Dusseldorp and Makovicky would be out of the challenge, but the safety car will be in this lap then. Racing about to get underway here at Donington Park. Back underway, I should say. As the safety car begins to pull away, Makovicky now will effectively become the safety car. Now Marcel's litted and driven back to the pits. Mercedes-Benz supplying all the course cars, leading cars, safety cars, medical cars for the GT1 World Championship. And will they be taking the win in the Drivers' Championship this time tomorrow? The safety car comes in. Racing is about to get underway. Has Makovicky gone too soon? He's almost onto the back of the safety car as they come through Goddard's. I think he's just about timed it right. Racing back underway. Makovicky has a 4/10 of a second advantage over Vanthoor. None of them particularly close to one another. So that's worked out well. Oh, that's a late move from Alvaro Parente, trying to get past Michael Bartels. Has he managed to pull it off in the McLaren? Yes, he has. So Michael Bartels loses another position. Bartels drops to 7th. That would extend the championship lead for Basang and Winkelhock to 4 points. Alvaro Parente really on it, but he's not going to want to stop his progress there. Great success here in British F3 in 2004. He stuck it on pole here in the Formula Renault 3.5 series back in 2007 as well. He knows his way around this Donington Park circuit, and he is proving it. Down into the Fogarty S's, there is the number 2 Hexis Racing McLaren. Gregoire de Moustier started it, but now Alvaro Parente is in it. A driver that's very highly rated down at Woking. 2005 British F3 champion Alvaro Parente. He won World Series by Renault as well in that year that he took pole. He gets up the inside and he gets past Nicky Pastorelli. Bit of contact between the two of them as they exit the hairpin. But now Parente's up into 5th place. Absolutely on it. So Alvaro Parente has made up 2 positions. Look at him dealing with the wheel as he comes out of the final corner. Up at the front, Makovic and Vanthor lapped almost identically. Tentative look up the inside from Enzo Eid as he tries to get past Nicky Mermelnov. 15 minutes to go. Peter Cox has dropped back a little bit from Laurens Vanthor. I thought Cox might take that opportunity. The opportunity of the safety car to close in just a little. Makovic did a 19.1 in Sector 1. That's kind of qualifying first sector pace. He built up 0.3 of a second over Laurens Vanthor in Sector 1 alone. Sector 1 is just Redgate. That's the only notable corner in there. Brilliant stuff from Fred Makovic. How long will it be before Alvaro Parente starts to challenge Marc Basang? Vanthor responds, though, by setting the fastest middle sector in the battle for the race lead. Parente set the fastest lap of the race back on lap 24, a 1 minute 28.470. That lap would have put him 6th on the grid. And this was in race trim. Very impressive stuff from Parente. And now he's with Marc Basang. Out onto the start-finish straight. Basang dropping a wheel on the grass on the outside of Goddard's. Parente's not going to be close enough into Redgate, though. Again, here comes Enzo Eid. This time he's got more conviction. This time he outbrakes Nicky Mermelnov into Redgate. Mermelnov trying to get the overlap back again into the crane of curves, but he's unable to. Peter Cox is coming into play now, though. He set the fastest final sector of anyone on that last lap. He's just set the fastest first sector of anyone on this lap. And is that Eid running wide in front of Mermelnov? Certainly grass was kicked up. And I think Mermelnov might now be back behind. Yes, he's back in front of Enzo Eid. Eid ran wide at the old hairpin. What an action-packed qualifying race this is turning into. The 2 leaders right together. Now Alvaro Parente right with Marc Basang. The Portuguese driver really has impressed. He's doing both races this weekend. He's doing this one as well as the British GT Championship in a United Autosports McLaren. But here it's with the main GT1 McLaren racing team, Hexis McLaren. And his teammate is leading the race. Across the line comes Makovic. And Parente is through. Parente has got past Marc Basang, so Alvaro Parente up into 4th place. Could this be an incredible McLaren 1-2? What a brilliant drive it would be from Parente. Car number 4 went off at turn 4 and continued, so that was the Enzo Eid run wide that I spotted. Just saw the dust kicking up. Again, Peter Cox goes quick in Sector 1. And here's the replay then. You see, off goes Enzo Eid. Only 2 wheels on the grass. Well, no, it ends up being 4 wheels on the grass. But then he loses the position. And has a little slide through Starkeys as well, just for a bit of fun. Makovic sets the fastest lap of the race on that last lap. A 1 minute 28.0. Brilliant lap from Fred Makovic. Let's hear from his team boss. Philippe Dumas is down on the pit wall. He's with Haley.
Philippe, the McLarens are certainly storming through the race there, looking for a good result here at your home race.
When you see Alvaro, it's maybe a driver performance more, the car. No, the car is good for sure. I hope we'll have the reliability until the end. And no, but everything is under control. It's cool.
Thank you.
It's all cool for Hexes. Certainly if Fred Makovic can keep this up at the front. Such a shame that these two aren't in title contention, but a difficult season for them with no points at the opening round in Nogaro. No points as well at the 6th round of the championship, the second race weekend at the Slovakia ring. No points for them there. 1 point last time out in the Nürburgring, and that is where their championship has fallen apart. The Mercedes SLS of Munich Motorsports, Al Inkel, has been absolutely consistent. They haven't won a championship race outright this season. They won the qualifying race at Portimao, but that's their only race win of the season, but yet they could be winning the Drivers' Championship. Just goes to show what consistency can do. Now Alvaro Parente then, Sector 1 has been all right, a 19.244, not a bad effort. Sector 2 has been very good, a 34.960, his fastest middle sector of the race so far. He took half a second out of Peter Cox in front of him. I think we're definitely going to see two McLarens on the podium, depending on how quickly Alvaro Parente can quicken pass and catch and pass Peter Cox, get my words out eventually. We may well be able to see a McLaren 1-2. 10 minutes to go here at Donington Park. Remember, the championship cannot be decided today. This race is predominantly to decide the grid for tomorrow's championship race. There are points on offer. If things stay how they are, it'll be 3 points at the top of the Drivers' Championship. But crucially, Basang will be starting in front of Bartels when the lights go green tomorrow afternoon. Parente down the Craner curves. It really is awesome to see GT1 here as well. Spectacular cars on a spectacular circuit. Here and Brands Hatch, possibly the two best major circuits in the United Kingdom. From a driver's perspective, of course, Cadwell Park, that would be cool. GT1 at Cadwell Park next season, that would be fantastic. But here comes Alvaro Parente then, closing in on Peter Cox. Parente sets the fastest first sector of anyone on this lap. Parente continues to impress year on year, race on race this season. He has been mighty. In Moscow, he absolutely blitzed away from his teammate Fred Makovic. Makovic is one of the top GT drivers out there, and Alvaro Parente in the wet, slippery, damp, greasy conditions of the Moscow Raceway left Makovic for dead. 28.1 across the line for Parente, and off goes Nicky Meyer-Melnoff. Meyer-Melnoff going off at Goddard's, and so that means he is now back behind Enzo Eid. And we're about to find out what happened, I think, to Nicky Meyer-Melnoff as he came into Goddard's that time around. But we'll see whether it was a problem. Let's have a look. And the back end just steps away. Oh, big lock-up, big kick of brake dust, but I think the back end just stepped away under braking. Perhaps he locked the rears. Keeps it all together quite nicely. Rally crossing it round back onto the tarmac. But Makovic has a 2.3 second lead up at the front. And he's continuing to edge clear of Laurence Vanthor in second place. Good drive from Vanthor. Audi will be fairly satisfied with this, but third place is where the battle is on. Michael Bartels doesn't quite have the pace to challenge the Mercedes in front of him. Look at how much time Parente's taken out of the Lamborghini in these last few laps. 6 tenths, and 4 tenths of a second in the last 3 laps. And now the Portuguese driver is going to be challenging the Dutchman. Out onto the start-finish straight they come. with 7 minutes to go. There's the Hexus McLaren team. They know that their championship chances are all but over. Even if, I mean, Fred McAvicky and Steph Dusseldorf have done everything they needed to do in this race so far. If they win it, that's the most they could do. But they needed their rivals, Basang and Winkelhock, to not pick up points. They're going to pick up 2. Which means with 25 points for a win in tomorrow's championship race, they'll be 26 points behind. There you can see 3 points, the difference between first and second places. What an absolute mouth-watering prospect that's going to be tomorrow. But let's focus on the final 6 minutes of today's race and the battle for the final podium position. Parente sends one up the inside. Very late manoeuvre down into the Melbourne hairpin. Can he get it stopped in time? No. Peter Cox gets the cut back, but Parente will have the inside line on the run up into Goddard's and should be able to consolidate the move. What's Cox going to do? He'll send it in wide, try and get the drive out of the corner. Almost works out for him. He hasn't quite got the overlap that he would have wanted. He's going to keep Parente pinned to the inside line before swinging it to the outside and try and get the cutback manoeuvre again. But that was such a late move from Alvaro Parente. So confident on the brakes in that McLaren MP412C, and he moves up into 3rd position. He's got 3.6 seconds to find to catch Vanthoor in front, so I think that's going to be too much of an ask, even for Alvaro. But that was a great move going down into the hairpin. No one saw that one coming, apart from Alvaro Parente. 5 minutes remaining here at Donington Park. Hands clasped together in the Hexus garage, because at the moment they're running 1st and 3rd. This would be a great result as well for Mark Basang. He didn't seem particularly confident yesterday. Well, here's a look at the replay. Look at that, he must have been a car length or 2 behind Peter Cox. Cox doesn't know he's there until he turns into the corner and sees the massive Hexus logo on the side of the McLaren and has to back out of it. There's the response in the McLaren garage. Up into 3rd place. So Mark Basang, when he came in yesterday to do a bit of filming for us, he didn't seem particularly confident. The car wasn't working around here. It wasn't going well, like every free practice session. But somehow, the Al Inkle squad managed to get the best out of the car when it matters. And Michael Bartels will be a very frustrated man. There's still a lot to play for tomorrow. Let's not big this up too much. There's only going to be 3 points between the top 2 in the championship. Bartels was quicker than the Mercedes on that last lap. In fact, to the tune of 0.8 of a second, so unless he's tried to be clever and backed off to save the tyres and then set in some blistering laps in the final 2 or 3 laps, potentially. You see the last 2 laps, he's taken an awful lot of time out of them. There's our top 4, past the exhibition centre on the right-hand side, under where the Dunlop Bridge used to be, and hopefully will be again one day. Into the chicane. What's Bartels done on this lap? He lost time in sector 1. He's feigning towards the inside of the hairpin, sending it very late on the brakes there, and he's managed to force his way past. There may well have been a little bit of contact. There's definitely contact there. Pastorelli holds it in, but Michael Bartels is getting desperate now, because the championship battle that's been raging since the first weekend in April is coming to a climax. And has he got a puncture? Bartels has a puncture from that contact, perhaps because he's coming into the pit lane. The Vita for One team race to get some new tyres ready. And it looks like a front left puncture to me for Michael Bartels. Incredible drama here in GT1. There is the front left, it's the rim on the wheel has gone as well. They get it off without any problem. They give it a little check. He's not going to score any points in this race, Michael Bartels. But now it's about where can he get the car to start the championship race tomorrow. BMW fires up, and away it goes. Well, here's a look at the replay. I think it's this first little nudge that is going to be where the... There might have been a little nudge there, but this is definitely where the damage happens. Bang, there. Bartels is front left into the rear right of Nicky Pastorelli. Well, Michael Bartels will be very frustrated with what happened there. Matthias Lauda walks to the back of the garage. Now, it's not an unmitigated disaster, because Basang and Winkelhock, if things stay how they are, will only pick up 2 points still. So it wasn't too much of a disaster in terms of points, because Basang was running in 7th place anyway. Bartels was running in 7th place anyway, which wouldn't have scored him any points. But it's going to be more of an impact on tomorrow's starting grid for the championship race. So, on the final lap is the number 1 car of Fred Makovic and Stef Dusseldorp. Even with that incident for Michael Bartels, they are still saving some final lap drama, are going to be out of the running for the Drivers' Championship, but they've done all they can. Stef Dusseldorp did a solid start. The Hexes team put in a great pit stop. Fred Makovic came out in the lead of the race, and he has held on for the lead of the race. Into the final corner, he's just going to get there after the clock counts to 0, and Hexes McLaren win the qualifying race in the hands of Fred Makovic and Stef Dusseldorp. Second place for Laurence Vanthor and Adam Carroll. It's a McLaren 1-3 with Alvaro Parente and Gregoire de Moustier in third. Fourth place for the Lamborghini of Peter Cox and Stefan Racina. But crucially, across the line, in 5th position, comes Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock. They extend their lead at the top of the championship to 3 points. That finish means that unfortunately the number 1 car of Makovic and Dusseldorp is not in contention coming into tomorrow's championship race. It's a straight fight between the Mercedes and the BMW, and the Ford GT hasn't taken the checkered flag yet, so that's a real shame. Laurent Groppi forced to retire on the final lap. That will possibly, though, give Michael Bartels an extra position. So that means he'll probably start the championship race 9th instead of 10th, as he will come across the line in a few moments' time. Here he comes down into the Melbourne hairpin. There you can see the Ford GT just on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. Bartels will pass him and finish in 9th place. So it'll be a 9th place start for tomorrow's championship race for Michael Bartels. After free practice, it looked as though this was BMW's to lose. Yes, they had a 1-point disadvantage, but they looked to have much the faster car. But once again in the race, the Al Inkle squad have done a superlative job. They get their cars to the end of the race, they stay out of trouble, and they extend their championship lead to 3 points. Well, what a dramatic qualifying race here at Donington Park. There's Laurent Groppi climbing out of his car. Such a shame for him and Benjamin Lariche. We don't know exactly what happened. There's talk of an engine failure, but obviously we'll confirm that later on. But there is Alvaro Parente. Perhaps drive of the day from Alvaro Parente. Very, very impressive stuff. And he pulls into the pit lane. And he'll drive past the Hexes team. And the Hexes squad applaud as he comes past. Philippe Dumas applauds both of his cars. A 1-3. A very impressive performance from McLaren. Also, Adam Carroll, he's going to be on the 2nd place position after that great race on his debut. As the cars come down into Parc Fermé, Fred McAvicky pulls up. He and Steph Dusseldorp are going to be very, very happy with that, no doubt. They're out of championship contention, unfortunately, but they did all they could today. And it'll be a satisfying way to begin the final round of the 2012 season. Embrace between McAvicky and Parente.
It was okay, the car was nice, just the brakes. If you push too much, you start to have a long pedal. Yeah. For the rest, it's okay, the car is good.
Okay, so McAvicky saying there, we just heard that the brakes were a bit dodgy. We heard Mercedes complaining about the brakes as well. So you have to go easy on the brakes if you want to keep that all together. And there's Laurens Vanthoor chatting to his engineer. And McAvicky goes to chat to his engineer as well. So the race win for Fred McAvicky and Steph Dusseldorp.
Yeah, when I was braking the car, it was like this a bit. Quite some moments.
Laurens Vanthoor complaining about the brakes as well. So we thought it might be a bit tough on brakes this weekend, but I wasn't expecting quite as many complaints as we seem to be getting. So Laurens Vanthoor will be fairly satisfied with that. Possibly disappointed he couldn't challenge the McLarens a little bit more, but they didn't have the pace to match Fred McAvicky and Steph Dusseldorp. Our two race winners, and they will start on pole position for tomorrow's championship race. Best place to start. They say front row starts don't suit them. They end up being unlucky, but Fred McAvicky and Steph Dusseldorp have converted their second place on the grid to a race win. And now they are down in Parc Fermé. We'll start with Fred McAvicky. They're both down there with Hayley Coxon.
Congratulations, Fred. What a mega performance by yourself in the McLaren.
Yeah, it's true. It's fantastic, especially after the Nürburgring. The goal was really to do a good race here. Steph did a great job at the beginning, and after the team did again a fantastic pit stop, and we exit first. With the safety car, it was a little bit tricky at the restart because the tire was a little bit cold, but the car is really, really nice, and it's fantastic for everybody.
Thank you. Steph, once again, the team are on it with the pit stops. You have impressed us this season, and here you are taking another win. And what a way to almost finish the weekend for you.
Yeah, it's a good start. As I said in the press conference after qualifying, first pole position was not our luckiest position. Second today brings us more luck, and hopefully we can start from 1-1 again tomorrow and bring this season to a nice finish.
Thank you.
So the two of them very satisfied with that, as you might expect, taking the victory by 2.4 seconds in the end over Laurens Vanthoor and Adam Carroll. It'll be interesting to hear what Carroll made of that, because he started the car from pole position, lost the lead to Stefan Rosina, who as well drove a very impressive race. He and Peter Cox guiding the car to fourth place, which I think will frustrate Reiter a little bit. They possibly had the pace for a little more than that. A fourth place finish is not too bad at all. So now we'll hear from our second place men, Adam Carroll and Laurens Vanthoor, down in the pit lane with Hayley.
Laurens, once again, you delivered some fantastic racing for us. How was it for you racing out there today?
Yeah, it was pretty warm in the beginning with Peter Cox. I hope he still likes me. It was a close battle. It was definitely a lot of fun. After the safety car, the first two laps, I think I had a better pace than the McLaren, but then after started to have some issues and I couldn't really follow anymore. So yeah, we still have some performance left for tomorrow if we find it. So yeah, happier about the result.
And Adam, second time out racing in GT, and here you are finishing on the podium.
Yeah, it's good. You know, it's been a really good weekend so far, and you know, we couldn't quite hang on to the lead. Unfortunately, didn't get too many laps to the grid, and the tires were still a bit cold, and I didn't want to risk too much. So, you know, happy to come in second, and I was pushing as hard as I could all the way through. And Laurens did a really good job, and you know, it's good to get a podium.
Thank you, guys.
So they will start second on the grid for tomorrow's championship race, and a very impressive debut as well. And that'll help WRT as well in the championship standings, because they are battling with the V1 Racing team over that second position. So that will no doubt improve their points tally as well. We'll have a look at the championship points a little bit later on. And now let's hear from Grégoire de Moustier, who started the McLaren, and driver of the race, Alvaro Parente.
Alvaro, congratulations. That was an absolute pleasure to watch. How was it for you racing?
A lot of fun and just passing people. It was great, you know. Lucky for the safety car to come in. And started passing people right after the safety car again, and you know, finished third from the back, so that was okay. You know, we're going to try to improve tomorrow, work on a few things, and see how it goes.
Do you think you'll be able to get this result tomorrow?
Hopefully better, you know. I'm always positive.
Thank you, Alvaro. And Greg, what a great result for the team.
Yeah, it's a very good result. We did a very good pit stop, so it helped us a lot, and then the safety car was good, so I'm very happy. Alvaro did a very good job, so I hope tomorrow we do the same or better. Let's see.
Thank you.
Alvaro Parente will start tomorrow's championship race as well, so we may well see the McLarens heading the field for the first few moments in the race tomorrow, and then Grégoire de Moustier will take over. De Moustier did a solid job actually at the Nürburgring last time around. Let's have a look at the classified results. 2.4 seconds between the McLaren and the Audi as they cross the line, with the second McLaren in third place. Great performance for McLaren at their home race. Makovic and Dusseldorp taking the win. This finishing order will also decide the grid for tomorrow's championship race. So Peter Cox will start in fourth position tomorrow. Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock extend their championship lead to 3 points. They'll start in fifth place. The big drama towards the end of that race, Michael Bartels and Jelmer Berman picking up that puncture, and as a result finishing down in ninth position, and that's where they'll start in the championship race tomorrow. Oliver Jarvis, Philippe Salaquada and Laurent Groppi not making it to the end of the race, unfortunately. So Makovic and Dusseldorp will start on pole position, but they're out of the championship hunt, unfortunately for them. They will be a considerable amount of points behind our championship leaders. There you can see 26 points the difference, and 25 points on offer in tomorrow's race. So it's a straight fight between Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock and Michael Bartels and Jelmer Berman. Only 3 points between the two cars. Tomorrow's race it's going to be something else, isn't it? It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So much tension. Can't wait. As far as the team's championship is concerned, Alinkel do a decent job to consolidate their points lead, because they picked up a couple today whilst V1 didn't pick up any. Belgian Audi Club close in just a little bit more on V1 Racing Team. It's those two who are battling over second place, because Alinkel really, unless there's a disaster tomorrow, will be sealing the championship tomorrow. Well, what an entertaining race that was. Plenty of drama. We had that safety car period in the middle to retrieve Oliver Jarvis's stricken car, as the fans start to move away, possibly to get a different vantage point for the next race we've got coming up here at Donington. And there you can see Mark Basang chatting to his engineers. Not looking quite as happy as I thought he might. Still looks a little bit stressed as Mark, but it was this was the key moment of the race, really. A late move from Bartels. Little bit of a nudge. That wasn't the problem, though. It was this contact on the exit of the corner. There. That's what gave Bartels a front left puncture, forced him to pit, and will force him to start from 9th place on the grid tomorrow. And that could well be one of the crucial moments in this 2012 championship season. So a 1-3 for McLaren, great work from them. A real shame for Oliver Jarvis that he ended up retiring. Well, we saw Mark Basang a few moments ago. Let's hear from him now. He's with Haley Coxham.
Mark, no podium finish for the team, but definitely a good result.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy with it. I'm happy that we survived, because my brakes are completely down. I had no brake, not really brake anymore. And so I'm happy that we could finish on P5, which is okay and good for us.
Everybody seems to be complaining about the brake issue here. What's the reason for that?
Donington is special because you have 3 hard time braking in a row. Arriving the chicane, then the Melbourne happen, and then this last corner, and the brakes have no time to recover. from the heat. And our car is by far the most heaviest car with 70 kilos more than a BMW. And I'm sure the overtaking from the McLaren, he was not planning to overtake me, but otherwise he hit my rear. So I was aware of that, so I moved to the left and let him place to go. But so I hope really for rain tomorrow that we don't have this problem.
What are your thoughts on 37 and 18 coming together?
I did not see what happened. I just asked immediately the guys because that's not what we want. But like they explained it to me, is that Michael was maybe a bit late, or he went on the inside, on the exit he hit Nicky, and then the rim broke. So I have to check if that is like they explained it to me. But then I can say, okay, then it was just bad luck for them that the rim broke. But I don't think that Nicky was tried to get them out of the race, because we want fair racing, and they finished 9th now, so it's still possible for them to overtake us.
Thank you.
Mark Basang, by no means counting his chickens at the moment, still concerned about tomorrow's race, hoping for rain as well, which is quite interesting, really. Usually drivers will hope for a dry race unless they really don't think they've got the pace. So a very entertaining race that was. We'll have a look back at it in a few moments' time, but Mark Basang and Marcus Winkelhock will start 5th on the grid for tomorrow's championship race after a very entertaining qualifying race here at Donington Park. So at the race start, it was a good getaway from our pole sitter Adam Carroll. He managed to hold the lead on the run down into turn 1. Steph Dusseldorp was on the outside. He lost second place in the end to the Reiter Engineering Lamborghini. Stefan Racina was very much on a charge, sending one up the inside down into Redgate to move the Lamborghini into the lead of the race. Further back, though, there were battles which were very much concerning the championship. The Alinco Mercedes swapping positions, Jaeger going a little bit late on the brakes, Winkelhock with a determined move up the inside. He managed to get past, and crucially, Jaeger managed to keep ahead of Jelmer Berman as well. That was a very important moment as far as this championship was concerned. And that allowed Marcus Winkelhock to just pull away slightly, much to Michael Bartel's concern. BMW decided to pit early. Berman coming in to hand over to Bartels. The pit stop went fine, and Bartels came out very much in contention for those positions. Then Basang left the pits. He managed to... Initially when he came out, it looked like he had miles of an advantage, but Michael Bartels had his tyres up to temperature and was soon on the back of the Mercedes as well. Nicky Pastorelli took over from Thomas Jaeger. We had a brief safety car period because Oliver Jarvis put it in the wall down at the Fogarty S's. He was fine, which was good to see, but the safety car came out. At the exit, though, of the pit lane, the McLaren managed to get the jump on both the Audi and the Lamborghini. Fred Makovicky taking the lead of the race, and there was the battle closing up behind the crucial championship fight, ultimately, which was over 5th place. Basang holding on ahead of Pastorelli and Michael Bartels down into Redgate. Michael Bartels had a challenge, but it was the move in the end from Mark Basang that saw him get past Nicky Pastorelli. Again, Bartels and Pastorelli going side by side. The safety car was finally called after they decided they couldn't get Oliver Jarvis's car safely out of the way. But then at the restart, Fred Makovicky continued to hold on to his advantage up at the front. Laurence Vanther in second. 3rd place at the time was Peter Cox, but Alvaro Parente was on a mission. He managed to get past Nicky Pastorelli. A little bit of contact there on the exit of the Melbourne hairpin. He got past Basang as well, and finally making the move into 3rd place, squeezing past Peter Cox at the inside of the Melbourne hairpin, just much to the Hexas McLaren's team delight. Then drama in the final stages. A little bit of contact going into the hairpin, but coming out, there was a little bit more contact. Michael Bartels picked up a puncture on the front left. He will start tomorrow's championship race down in 9th position. The race win, though, taken by Fred Makovicky and Laurence Vanther. They will have pole position for tomorrow's championship race. The Drivers' Championship, the two at the top are separated by just 3 points going into tomorrow's championship race. Make sure you join us 12:30 local time. From myself, Jack Nichols, and Hayley Coxon down in the pits. We'll see you tomorrow.